Alright, so I'm good, and I'm going to show you my two-handed puncture build. So, I'm currently using puncture with two-handed swords, also with crit. I'm in a 76 map with really no other mods on it, really. Yeah, basically a white map. It's got two bosses. Hopefully I can take them down. So, I'm using crit, two-handed sword, puncture. So I'm using two-handed just because they hit hard, and puncture scales with the initial hit damage. I'm using crit to hit harder, because everything is better as crit. So, let's go over exactly what I was doing. So puncture, you know, it does pretty good damage if I happen to land a crit. So I've got like what? Puncture, I've got like 590 crit multiplier. I'm using the melee splash gem on it. It doesn't really reduce the damage that much, it's like 10% less damage, but it gives a splash, which is useful in most scenarios. So, you know, for some other things, might replace it with melee damage on full life. So strap that gem in, it pumps up to 5,000 top end damage. So, you know, land one hit at 5,000 damage times 6, it's 30,000. Then the effective damage multiplier by them standing still, because puncture does 28% of the physical damage dealt per second. So if they're just standing still, it lasts for 6.7 seconds, and then I have about 250% increased DOT damage, and all that combined means that the after effect of puncture will do about 6 times the damage of the initial hit if they don't move. So if I knock, you know, do a sixth of the mob's life, you know, like 15-16% damage, the mob is guaranteed to die. So that's interesting. But also, yeah, I have a link to melee physical and increased crit damage. You know, they're not crit damage is quality, and it's really a good quality gem. For my other attack, I have lightning strike, which is what I'll primarily be using to just clear everything, because melee doesn't really work in this game. And by melee I mean like true melee. It's targeted melee. So if you hold shift and click on the mob, you won't hit it, because you're always desynced in this game. Just a little bit. And that little bit means that you won't hit your target that you're actually aiming at. So, yeah, that's why I kind of hate melee in this game. Lightning strike isn't really true melee. It has a bit of a range to it. And with multi-strike, it kind of mitigates the like desync aspect. So you'll still kind of hit mobs everywhere. I have a link to weapon elemental damage instead of melee physical, because melee physical only applies to the hit damage, not the projectile damage. And I need I don't really need more single target. I really need more just AoE, because the clear speed on this build is not top notch. Other things: Echo Enduring Cry, Increased Duration, Immortal Call, Vulnerability, and Curse on Hit Assassin's Mark, because I can't be bothered. And that's with Herald of Thunder. So bam, stuff's cursed, and that'll let me crit more often. So it kind of improves the reliability of the build. So you know, it increases clear speed pretty well, and then gives me power charges. So you know, it bumps my crit chance from 38 to, or from 28 to 38 with power charges, and then up to what, almost 50% with the curse on it. So yeah, pretty reliable with Assassin's Mark and power charges. But honestly, I can't be bothered to curse things, because I would rather just sit and spin. So let's go with that. So I have a couple of flasks, and really the one I'm using for damage is a Jade Flask of Fending. So Fending makes your melee attacks knock back, and bleeding targets take more damage when they move. So I can force targets to move by
You there. Let me bend your ear for a minute.
Alright, Vegan. Let's roll. Wait, let's get endurance charges first. God, it's kinda hard. So I can force targets to be pushed back by good god, computer's about to explode. By using the Jade Flask of Fending, and then just using lightning strike on them. So, you know, Vegan's pretty true though. The fuck? Yeah, no. So yeah, for like bosses I'll do that. or the bosses that don't move around a whole lot, I'll do that. Also, the Jade Flask is just defensive, so I might just use it anyways. I'm using Lightning Strike for a couple of reasons. One is for the, let's get some charges before I do the boss. There's 2 bosses in here, by the way. So I'm using Lightning Strike because it halves the physical damage portion of the attack, and because I'm using a crit 2-hander, I will die if I hit Reflect without a Mortal Call-Up. That is pretty much guaranteed. So not hitting, or not doing as much physical damage is actually really beneficial. Furthermore, it does lightning damage. Which means if I crit a target with it and kill it, or if I crit a target, it's probably going to be shocked because I have like almost 400 multiplier. The top end's like 2,000, so if Lightning Strike lands a crit, it will do about, 7,000-ish lightning damage? And that's pretty much going to shock anything in the game. So, yeah, it'll shock mobs. Furthermore, that'll proc Herald of Thunder, so Herald of Thunder will go off, and then I'll just start automatically cursing stuff. So it all kind of like works together. Also, I can evade the Reflect because of Vondar's Gal, because of the projectiles. The map's lightning resistant, I can just swap that out to Molten Strike and use that instead. Doesn't like shock mobs, but you know, it's a lightning resistance map. So there's 2 bosses in here. They both have Hex Font. Let's see how much I can do against these guys. So I did curse them, I think. Did I kill them both? I think they're dead. Am I randomly getting cursed? That means they're dead. So yeah. It's pretty effective against a lot of bosses just because of that. Like doing it Zeri isn't that big of a deal because you can spend the whole time dodging the Flame Blasts and Storm Calls because you only really need to hit until a crit's landed, and then you have 7 seconds where you can just kind of run around in circles and dodge everything. So I've done it Zeri with this build a couple of times. Even at level 80, could probably remove some of the pieces of gear as well. Like I could be worse gear and it would still work for it Zeri. So I think it's pretty good. So yes, I'm Gouda, and I will see you next time.